So Chairman Wontumi ne Exim Bank fraud case no abusua ensem bebre na ebeba on Chairman Wontumi accept a cheso on ne lawyer edekoto Yoko any attorney general nim say omo pese omo plea ebageni na omo tumi return looted state funds sad fraud na ekoso ewo Exim Bank hono echese opeso return sa sika na abusua court grante chairman Wontumi say obetumi ne attorney general akwa ase na eche say plea bargaining deal no akoso na ne deputy attorney general ade nsem bi aba betudwa a omo kire say esa plea bargaining deal no nyoma bebre ekoso a omo reject sa deal no and sika omo pese chairman Wontumi pese o return no sa sika na omo hu de wa nyoma se bi ko enti there is some secret cases bi a ekoso in a chairman Wontumi ne Exim Bank case na enwie peye emfama a chairman Wontumi, which is sa Exim Bank case ne nko abetumi di yes ni bi asan so aka chairman Wontumi ne 20 years no, and the deputy attorney general aba e de ehon nsem aba betudwa baby a case na kwa kodru ekwan a mo befa so e de chairman Wontumi sa na Exim Bank fraud case no se plea bargaining deal no ekwan a mo fa so reject ye ene shocking details be a efa ho a as a chairman Wontumi asan so ede asonhye abrena yebepe say yebekwa akoti unsubscribe ya subscribe and hit on the notification bell so na any update be ebe drop no onso onsa ebetumi akabia ha gossip politics tv so madam ase
the General of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Justice Shamsai. Again, Doc, I appreciate your time with us here. I did say that when we come back, we'll look at the minorities case, that this is selective justice. Their basis for that is that the Attorney General's office had referred some cases to do with illegal mining and members of the NDC to IOCO. And it hasn't moved as fast as the Chairman Wontumi Samre Boy case. The question they are asking is why?
There's actually no basis for that claim. When was Chairman Wontumi arrested? Somewhere August last year, year. When did the Attorney General direct Yoko to do this investigation?
I think Chairman Wontumi was May of last year, and this one was July of last year.
Okay. So you see the difference, right? Actually, Chairman Wontumi's investigation started in 2021 when these minority trade people were in government. So that's like how many years now?
5.
So if it took 5 years to get into, on what basis are you saying that it didn't? This one is not going as fast as the Wontumi one? So you see some of these things when you listen to the minority sometimes and you just apply the facts, you will see that there's more of politics than any factual analysis of the situation.
But what can
many other people were arrested long before the AG gave a directive to Yoko to investigate. They've gone to BNI, they've gone to Yoko, they've gone to police, but they are not yet in court because investigations take time. So if you are saying that which month did you give?
May and July.
July to July, as compared to some of them who were invited, or some of the former government officials who were invited way back in January, February 2025, and they are not yet in court and their investigations are not yet concluded. So you see, if we want to use that timeline, then it's even too early to be talking about these.
So where is the state in pursuing those cases?
Investigation is still ongoing.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, investigation is still ongoing.
That's all you can tell us.
Yes. You can't say much. You can't say much about it. Or you want to know the actual investigative steps?
It's still sitting at Yoko.
No, if you say sitting, it's as if it's there and it's not moving. Investigation takes time. That's why I gave you the timeline for Wontumi. They started investigating Wontumi since 2020. If you look at the docket, since 2021. Okay. See how long it took for him to be charged, to even be arrested and be charged and brought to court. January 2020. We started the trial January. So
what assurance can you give the Ghanaian people who are watching that, look, we are as much interested in this one as we are?
I don't even need to give further assurance. I just have to refer people to history. President Dramani Mahama had prosecuted his own appointees and they were found guilty before. That should be enough confidence to everybody that this is not a president or this is not a government who would close. The president will not, the president I know and we Ghanaians know is not the kind of president who would clear his people and be what? Prosecuting other people, other members of other political parties. He's done it before. His own appointees, he has prosecuted them, they've been found guilty and have been sentenced and have served the sentence fully. So it is not something that I think the average Ghanaian or the typical Ghanaian would be worried that President Mahama will cover up for his appointees. It is just, that's what I keep saying, that when you listen to the minority and you run what they say through the facts, you see that there is no basis for most of the things they say.
We have 2 other cases against him. The one in which he has a plea bargaining proposition to the Attorney General's office and another illegal mining related one as well. Let's start off with the plea deal. Where are we with that?
They made a plea proposal of what they want to offer. We, in our opinion, they've not satisfied us, so we intend to reject it. In fact, we have in our minds rejected it, just that we've not had a meeting with them to inform them of our rejection. So it's like any bargaining. You give, you take. So we were supposed to meet yesterday, but of course what happened yesterday couldn't allow the meeting. And we are still trying to get that meeting done before we go back to court next week.
What was brought to the table that you're rejecting?
So they offered to pay some amount.
How much?
No, that is, it's enough that we are still bargaining. But the plea bargaining itself is supposed to be, it's not supposed to be out there. When we finish, we announce the conclusion. But they made an offer. It's enough for the public to know that they made an offer which we found inadequate, and we're going to meet them to inform them of our rejection. And then,
without giving numbers, what would look like a proper proposition or proposal to the Attorney General's office? I
mean, for example, you ought to pay all the money with interest. I mean, otherwise, then what's the point?
We can conclude that was what was brought to the table.
Well, that is not.
We can draw that conclusion.
I don't think you can, but if you want to, that's also fine.
Thank you so
much. Well, thanks so much, and good morning to everyone. Well, let me start by saying that at least we are getting somewhere with the fight against Galamsey. We are getting somewhere with the fight.
The accusation is that Wontumi is a political prisoner. It presupposes and infers that he's being targeted. And by inference, this political persecution.
Roland, the MPP has always told us that, when you arrest somebody or when the security people picks up somebody, they say, and then they keep the person beyond, say, 48 hours. You see them everywhere. Take the person to court. Why are you not taking the person to court? Now the person has been put before court. The court has gone through its processes and it has made its determination. Now they are coming back to attack the court, attack the judge, and attack everything that happened in court. So I don't know whether they are saying that as far as their members are concerned, there should be no criminal investigation, any investigation into their activities.
They haven't said that. I don't think that's part of.
So no. So which part of the criminal processes have they not criticized? The arrest, Iyoko detention.
In this instance case.
Yes.
And a string of a number of investigations being.
But so the judgment is there. Now the judgment. No, if you read the judgment, it will be very difficult for anybody to attack any portion of this judgment. In fact, sometimes you read the judgment. Look, if you look at the judgment that Appiah put forth, in certain areas, you were wondering whether he was actually in control of this case. Because you see, for instance, how do you tell me?
You mean the defense?
Exactly. How do you tell me that if a provision says that assignment, mortgage, transfer, that when that is said to be a crime, and that is done without written document, that it doesn't amount to assignment? And so, for instance, if I tell you that when you assign your lease, if you transfer your lease, if you mortgage your lease, without the prior approval of the minister in charge of the sector, you are engaged in an illegality, and you come to court and say that
Section 99 as amended?
Yes. And you come to court to say that because that transfer, that assignment, indeed you have agreed that there was an assignment. You are not in dispute about that. But your argument is that that assignment was not backed by any written document. Hold on. Are we looking at form or substance? In law, we have always said that the court would always consider substance over form. So if indeed there was a transfer, illegal transfer, whether it was written or not, it doesn't matter. Once you have admitted that there was a transfer, and you are now in court telling everybody that you transferred, he does only reclamation and not do the mining. Now he comes to court. The very person he transferred it to comes to court to tell the court that I was asked to do two things: do mining in the unmined area, and then do what we call the reclamation in the area that has been destroyed. And how do I do the reclamation? I'll plant trees and that was where the issue that's this also raised that okay, if you say you engage him only to do the reclamation, what was the arrangement in terms of the cost that will be borne by him? Because reclamation comes at a cost. How was he to be paid? And so, and you see, in legal matters, in everything in court, we have two forms of evidence: direct or circumstantial. And I saw Apia Kubi hinging almost everything in court on direct evidence. And that while there was no direct evidence, then there was no evidence. Is that how a lawyer should think? In many instances, in fact, in criminal matters, 99% of the time, you don't have direct evidence. It is very difficult to come out with direct evidence. It is only in civil matters that somehow you find a big quantum of direct evidence. But in criminal matters, because criminal matters are done in the dark. And so chances are you can spot the person. You can see the person at the time he's doing the crime. So you look at the matters, the surrounding circumstances, and infer from the surrounding circumstances. And the law...
So the minority's concerns, you're just dismissing...
Very, very unfounded. And you see, if you say the judgment is defective, the best process is the appeal.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, so you go on appeal.
Well, they say they have good grounds of appeal.
Let's see how it goes. That is why, because your grounds of appeal should be based on the judgment. And I don't see where you come, because almost all the issues you are raising...
You read the judgment thoroughly?
Saying the oral assignment is not assignment. Who told you oral assignment is not assignment? Then what do we mean by oral contracts? In contract law, if you say the contract, we don't have contracts only in written forms. We have contracts also in oral form. And so if there was oral assignment, oral transfer, oral mortgage, it is as good as a written assignment. And so you cannot run away from it. This only sends us one message, that when we are strong, when we are politically charged, when our party is in power, let's not seem to be sidestepping processes. Let's respect due processes of the law.
But you're doing worse now, and that's how
Yeah.
we should
So one of the issues that Lawyer Boama as well as Dr. Zato raises that you seem to be treading like a tortoise when it comes to how you are going to use the law to deal with your own who flout regulations concerning illegal mining, and then even the Minerals and Mining Act.
So I don't see how well.
So
if I give
there's Yamin, there's
but the Yamin one, remember
the thing is that you see there has been a lot of such allegations.
MCs or DCs cited. There's an MP who has been
an investigation.
Let
me tell you one thing. Their former health minister.
Who? Kokwadi.
He's been under investigation since when?
For the vaccines, yes.
Since we came to power.
That has been known, yes.
Has he been charged?
I don't understand.
So, yes. So, if investigations are going on, why? Because your man has been prosecuted, everybody who is at the investigation, there has to be a conclusion of the investigation.
But also, the recommendation by the Attorney General, the referral, included the report of Professor Fufo Boatin.
Exactly. Who was also exonerated?
We must go into it, so we must box it together. Because Professor Fufo Boatin's report...
The mere fact that there's an allegation, the mere fact that there's an allegation does not mean that the person is guilty. Once the investigators do their investigation and they come to a contrary conclusion, or they come with a conclusion that the person is not... that there's no enough evidence to go ahead with the prosecution, so be it. It doesn't matter who is involved.
So you see,
and I am telling you...
Just a minute. I'm coming from the Western region.
Which part of the Western region? In your area, is there illegal?
No, we don't even have anything for them to come in.
Which
But I know the Amenfi area where I drive to. My brother, It is terrible.
No, we're not saying that is not going on.
Hold it. The issue about illegal mining and its consequence on the Ghanaian city, it's daring. It is worse and bad as we speak. And we are not seeing that commitment. So this Wontumi matter, it's fine. We can deal with the legal issues. But I'm saying that the government has done very little and has been supporting, or his actions are supporting illegality in the mining business.
That is not true.
Okay.
If you look at all the processes, recently they were fighting. The tribunal bill was also intended to
the
even...
tribunal bill and then
If we are
solve the
going on this
Galamsey
subject, would you say now, post this judgment, of course there are processes of appeal and it will be filed, etc. Do you think in this matter of illegal mining, and you even citing the approach by government and the less enthusiasm based on your own assessment, also cited by a number of individuals right here, you think that the government, because of its position currently and the way it's fighting illegal mining, perhaps doesn't have that the government perhaps also doesn't have that right, so to speak, to then be calling the kettle black, so to speak?
Well, you've put it beautifully, so I accept that.
Or cannot live in a glass house and be throwing stones?
Another wonderful tip. I'm happy that you've said that too. So all that apply perfectly here. But
It's a good question.
No, I agree. That's what I'm agreeing, that all those affect. But this is the biggest, this is the main issue. You see, fundamentally, Hansel made a point. And that point is still here. If you are His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, you stand publicly, look Ghanaians in the eyes and tell them, some of my own appointees are engaged in Galamsey.
The president said that?
Yes. You are bold enough to tell us that, but then you cannot name them. Why not?
It's not entirely true.
Why can't you name them?
Don't.
No, the president did not say that.
Said, he said he doesn't rule out the fact that. You see,
okay, good.
Yes.
You don't rule out the fact.
Well, so
Now,
means that he sees
so,
that
yes,
Please allow him to make his point, so that when
He
your time
doesn't
comes,
that
the president is the
why
commander
are you
in chief.
interjecting Dr. Zato?
Is the
Dr.
commander in
Zato,
chief of
please
the
go
Ghana
ahead.
Forces. All the security and intelligence agencies in this country report to His Excellency the President. The EBNI, NIB named them, they all report to him. Whatever information His Excellency wants to get today, he can get it today. So even if it is a suspicion,
Was it the same man?
even if you suspected it, the president could have gone ahead to identify. At least it is internationally acceptable to name and shame people, especially if those people are engaged in what an existential crisis. It's perfectly acceptable. So why are they not naming and shaming them? Chairman Wontumi has been convicted, but since the president has been in power for 1.5 years, 1 year, 8 months, nobody, if you speak to anybody, nobody in civil society, independent media houses will tell you that we have started winning the war against Galamsey. So the record of the government on Galamsey is what? Pathetic and woeful. They are not winning it. And so it's when you look at it and you see that they were looking for a sacrificial lamb. You are quoting the Bible. Quote the part about the sacrificial lamb that Wontumi has been fed, or is being fed to the base of the NDC, and also fed to the CSO, so to kind of demonstrate a false sense that the government is doing something on Galamsey. You mentioned the Akufo-Addo's meeting with the Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference. That's true. But you failed to mention His Excellency President Mahama's meeting with the same Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference. What did they tell him?
No, what did
They said time to act is now.
No, but-
Delay is no. Declare a state of emergency now. They told him that. Okay. He listened to them. So we are saying that if you look at this mountain of hypocrisy, if you look at this mountain of that, once it is a member of an opposition political party, we are going to go all out to get a pound of flesh. But if it's one of our members, we will obfuscate, we will confiscate, we will conflate, we will delay as much as possible. And the point I'm saying is that once you do that, it doesn't show any true sense that you really believe in the values and the principles you are standing for.
Okay. Gentlemen, I'm sorry I have to end here. We have apparently an emergency content we have to put together. So I didn't communicate that earlier. But if I can just get 1 minute to wrap up from you.
Okay, Roland, first of all, I just want to say that it's not entirely true that the president today has not done anything involving which has to do with members of the party, the governing party. In fact, it was the same president. Now you see Yamin and Abanga. It was the same president who, when he got that information, instructed Yoko. He wrote Yoko and asked Yoko to open investigation into that matter. Tell us, in your entire 8 years, when Galamsey was at the highest level, who was referred by Nanado? Who knew at the time, under his presidency, that Galamsey was going on? Who did he ever refer to Yoko for any investigation? So there's some work being done, and the work is being done without let or hindrance.
So
It's called tokenism.
in 30 seconds, this is rhetoric.
And tokenism.
That statement that the president is committed is rhetoric because the substance that we see on the field doesn't commiserate with the statement. The issue of Galamsey and the effect of illegal mining is worse. Don't even compare it at the time you took off. As we speak today, 1.5 years since the coming to being of the NDC, it is worse. If you don't face it, to fix it, we as the Ghanaian people will live to suffer. The mandate is in the hands of the president. The past is behind us. The present is before us. The president should act and act decisively to save Ghana.
So far, the record has been woeful and pathetic.
So I still don't get the point here.
Of course, you won't get it.
And we all agree that Galamsey is an existential threat.
Do you?
A kingpin has been identified and has been imprisoned. And you have the same people that believe that it's an existential threat call, that they are going on appeal so that they will overturn that decision to free the person. Is that not what we are discussing here? The 4 million people that have contracted kidney diseases includes UP members, NDC members, NPP members, and every political actor in this country. So diseases associated with illegal mining has no colorization. And I don't see why we must politicize it. And it's the reason why we would urge Yoko to fast track that investigation. Remember, that investigation also called for Professor Frimpong Boateng's report, those that were captured in there, to be investigated. Again, the Formina area, those that are engaging themselves in Galamsey, they must be brought to book, the Lake Busumtwi area, and so on. But just to end, there has been a judgment in the U.S. claiming that Ken Ofori-Atta has been granted a green card. Let me say that the judge that sat on the case or the matter is an old boy. They all went to Yale University. So they are Yalis. They are Yalis. Oh, it's a friendly. It has nothing to do with law. This is a corrupt procured judgment. That judge will not. He has been at the bar for only 3 years. It's a corrupt procured judgment. So don't even fantasize yourself. It's a corrupt procured judgment.
Whether you are aiming for a specialist MBA in marketing and communication, operation supply chain, human resource management.
So I was doing and some so our political highway. So Chairman Wontumi ne Exim Bank fraud case no and on some and a deputy attorney general Erebetuja Edemaya. Yabada Master Samoje Penekoko Tisa and some way Edemaya. Gossip politics TV so.